Welcome back to PSC's Tech Bites. Today I'm really happy because this is the episode number 50 and it has been a very long journey. We enjoyed quite a lot of videos so far and I hope we will do the same for all of the upcoming ones. So thank you. Thank you very much for following this channel and for watching these videos. Now let's move to the topic of today. And today I want to talk with you about how you can upgrade to SharePoint Framework 1.8 if you have an already existing solution based on a previous version of SharePoint Framework, for example 1.7. So first of all, SharePoint Framework 1.8 has been released by Microsoft on the 14th of March 2019, so a couple of weeks ago at the time of this recording. In the SharePoint Framework 1.8, there are a bunch of new features and capabilities, like, for example, the fully released support for team stubs, for developing team stubs with SharePoint Framework, the support for app pages, the preview capability of using external libraries, and so on and so forth. So it is now time to start thinking about upgrading your solutions toward SharePoint Framework 1.8. Well, in order to do that, you have at least a couple of options. The very first one is to use the Office 365 CLI tool to see what are the steps you need to follow in order to upgrade your solution. Or you can just follow those steps, which are basically upgrading all of the NPM packages in your solution, updating some of the config files like the tsconfig file or some other manifest file of your web part, for example, to provide the supported host capabilities for those web parts that you have in your solution. And of course, to slightly adapt your code to make it buildable with the latest version of SharePoint Framework. So in order to do that, let me move to the demo environment and let me show you how to upgrade in practice a SharePoint Framework 1.7 solutions to 1.8. So here we are in a SharePoint Framework 1.7 very basic solution, and as you can see in the package.json file, we are using SPFx 1.7.1. Now let's say that I want to upgrade this solution to 1.8. One option that we have is to use the Office 365 CLI. So I can simply use the Office 365 SPFx project upgrade command, instructing the command, for example, to produce an output markdown document, which will be stored in the local folder as upgrade-report.md. Let's do that right now. And if I open the output file, and I show it as a rendered page, we can see that we have a bunch of npm install actions that we have to execute to save some dependencies or some developer dependencies to upgrade the solution. We also have to upgrade the org.json file, the web part manifest, and some other tsconfig items in the tsconfig JSON file, as well as update some of the stuff in the web part source code. So let's try to go through all of these steps to see what will happen to our solution during the upgrade. So let me close the MD file and let me start showing you what are the outdated packages that we have in our solution. So by executing npm outdated, it will take a while, but we can see what are the packages that we are using right now and what are the latest versions that we have available on the registry and that we can update. And here you can see that's the output. So we can execute the npm e to install all of these items in our package.json file. For example, let's start with the Microsoft SP Core library, which will upgrade to 1.8.0, and I will save it in the dependencies in my package.json file. Then I will do the same for all of the other packages, and I don't want to waste your time waiting for all of the packages to install, so I will show you just one of them, and then I will go through all of the other packages in background, and you will just see the result. Because as I said, it will take a few minutes to download all of the packages. But what is interesting is that if you want to save some of the packages in the package.json file as dev dependencies, you will have to use the --save-dev option rather than the --save one. So let's do that, for example, for the SP module interfaces 1.8.0. And I will do in background all the other npm packages installation just to save some time in this recording. Now that all the main packages are installed, we can proceed with the setup or with the installation of a few additional NPM packages. For example, in SharePoint Framework 1.8, now we can select which version of TypeScript we want to use while compiling, while transpiling our code. And we can use the Rushstack compiler for that. And I will install the Rushstack compiler 3.3 targeting TypeScript 3.3 in my solution. So let's install that one as well in the npm packages as a dev dependency. And then I will also install TypeScript 3.3, so the latest version that we have, as a dev dependency in my solution. It will take a while to install both the Rushstack and the TypeScript, and when they will be ready, we can have a look to the packages JSON file as well as to the tsconfig JSON file to do some small changes to the TypeScript compiler configuration. And now we have TypeScript version 3.3.4 in our solution. So we are ready to apply some small changes, for example, to the tsconfig JSON file. In fact, there we have to add a section to instruct the TypeScript compiler to use the Rushstack compiler extension, and that's what we do right here with this option. Moreover, we also have to update the manifest file of the web part that we have in this solution. In fact, in the manifest file, we have to provide a new setting, which will be the supported hosts setting. And there we can provide an array of supported hosts, which can be the SharePoint web part, of course, because this will be a SharePoint web part, can be a Teams tab, and can be a SharePoint full page. In my scenario, it will be just a SharePoint web part and a Teams tab. Once we have done that, we can eventually configure a Teams folder in our solution. So we can do that. We can create a Teams folder, and inside the Teams folder we can upload a couple of icons, which will be the icons for our Team tab solution in two different resolutions. And in order to do that properly, we need to reference the ID of the web part that we have in the manifest file as the trailing part of the name, followed by the icon name. So, for example, I can upload in this folder a couple of files. So let me add them. Reveal in Explorer, and let me add a couple of files there. Here they are. Those files, as you can see, have the trailing part of their name, which is the global unique identifier of the ID of the web part in the manifest, followed by the kind of file. So it can be, if I can squeeze this guy a little bit more, color, or underscore outline PNG. By doing that, we are now ready to build our solution. So let me open the terminal window, and I can do Gulp Builder to see if my solution builds properly. As you can see, we are using TypeScript 3.3.4, and it builds, and we can eventually bundle and package solutions to release it. Just to give you some hints, with SharePoint Framework 1.8, with big solutions, every now and then there could be issues with memory allocation during the node server execution, especially when you do the build and the bundle of your solution. So if that will be the case, you will need to set an environment variable to properly configure the max memory size for Node.js. You can find such kind of example in the GitHub repo for the SP Starter Kit, where we already updated the solution to SharePoint Framework 1.8. And if you go to the dev branch into the solution folder, you can find in the package JSON file a bunch of custom scripts that will build and bundle the solution using an environment variable for Node, which will instruct Node to use a max memory size of 8 GB, for example, in this scenario. So keep it in mind in case of any out-of-memory exceptions during bundle or building of your solutions. For the sake of completeness, here you can find a list of useful links that you should read to get more details about the 1.8 release, if you want to read on the GitHub release notes, or if you want to read on docsmax.com, as well as if you want to dig into the details of upgrading to the latest release of TypeScript. You can read a very interesting blog post made by my friend Ilio, as well as another blog post from Ilio about how to upgrade to the latest release of React in your SharePoint framework solutions. There is also a link to a document about how to use the Office 365 CLI to upgrade an SPFx solution. So, as usual, thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.